right, so still running down these comments. Somebody's saying, why didn't you think of this idea before my question? It could have saved you all those backed up emails. Yeah, Claire, I know. Live and learn exactly. Okay, Daisy says, I consider myself almost completely recovered. I still had the odd moment, but pretty much have been honouring my hunger and stopped counting calories completely since June. This included eating so much food in the first few months, which was scary as I felt I started doing this and gave myself permission at the first time. It was literally on a roller coaster and I couldn't have got off if I tried. Basically, I'm feeling much better now. I eat when I'm physically or mentally hungry. My brain has much more room. My only concern is that whenever I drink alcohol, I can't stop eating. It's like I'm in those first few months of recovery and I can't get enough food all over again. This has made me kind of scared of drinking. It's also embarrassing and scary experience. Feels like I'm binging after a night out when I will literally raid the pantry and not stop. Very confused as to why this is happening. And I don't feel like I am at all restricting during the day. Do you have any advice or insight as to why this is happening? Well, I know that for me, if I do drink alcohol, it usually means I'm staying up a bit later than usual. And if I'm staying up a little bit later than usual, like, I don't know, it's like more time's gone by, so I'm hungry. I don't know, that maybe could be what's going on, Daisy. It could be some sort of biological reaction to alcohol. It just makes you hungry, like some people get the munchies when they smoke weed. It could be the alcohol is disinhibiting. So on some level, you still really want to eat a load of food sometimes, and it comes out when you had a little bit of a drink because you're not as inhibited. I don't think it really matters. It doesn't matter at all. Just eat it. Just enjoy it. It's really not a problem. So there could be lots of interesting explanations as to why that is happening. But ultimately, we may never know, and it doesn't matter. Your body's saying it's hungrier. Cool. Rosemary, how would I go about increasing calories when my metabolism is a bit slow? I'm not hungry for enough food, but I'm completely weight restored to my pre-EDA weight, but also don't have my period back. Well, first of all, you don't know that you're completely weight restored. So what if you got to your pre-eating disorder weight? I don't know how long you had an eating disorder. You might have started your eating disorder when you were 10 for all I know, and you got back to your pre-eating disorder weight. So it doesn't mean anything really. It just means that you got back to a weight that you were at one point in the past before you had an eating disorder. But that doesn't mean that had you not had an eating disorder at all, that you would still be at that weight. So you don't know that you're completely weight restored. If you don't have your period back, Rosemary, I kind of might guess that you're not. So how do you go about increasing your calories when your metabolism is a bit slow? Why you just increase calories? Like, do you imagine a world when we didn't know what a metabolism was and we wouldn't have known if our metabolisms were fast or slow, and then you wouldn't have had to worry about it? So sometimes knowing less is actually more powerful and definitely more freeing. So don't worry about your metabolism and don't make judgments about it either. It seems to me like you want to eat more food because I don't know why you would have written to me if that wasn't at all true. Maybe you're just worried about your period and stuff, but just try it out. Eat more food, see what happens. Your period might come back. You got nothing to lose. All right. Erin, I have the fear that going all in and gaining weight won't improve my life, and I worry I'll be depressed and more anxious, still unemployed and single. Erin, Jesus, fuck. Like, that's the stupidest fear ever. Oh, I'm worried that, like, I'll go all in and my life won't improve. So I will not try, and my life is crap now anyway, so I'm just not going to try at all. It just doesn't even make any sense. It honestly does sound like a complete eating disorder brain talking. That's the kind of thing I hear a lot from people that are just so in their eating disorder. It's not an excuse. So it's like me saying, like, oh, well, like, it's like trapping yourself in a room and going, well, I don't know what the weather's like outside and I can't look outside, so I'm just never going to go outside because it might be having no weather in this room might be better than having any weather at all being outside, despite the fact that I fucking hate it in this room. I'm just not even going to try. It just doesn't make any sense, Erin. Okay. How do you deal with losing friends and also constant compulsion to seek reassurance with eating? Eat. It's probably how you should deal with everything, Erin, don't you think? All right, back to these questions that are on the community tab. I've been in recovery for 1 year now and I'm slowly starting to lose the overshoot. How do I keep myself from being happy about it? Which is disordered, isn't it? Because after all, I'm able to move more without, for example, cutting my toenails. That's a really interesting question. And I'm really happy that you have identified that being happy about what you consider to be overshoot reducing is disordered. I love that you're thinking about that. And I think that being aware of that is a part of the way to the solution to it. Like, as long as you can counter your brain and just be like, no, I'm going to let my body be where it wants to be. And I'm going to remove my judgment. I'm going to remove my judgment whether, like losing some weight is good or gaining some weight is bad. And I'm just going to, like, as long as you're really trying, I actually think, and as long as you're aware of that and like a really determined to be like, no, I'm not going to let myself be happy about this. And I'm not going to let myself be happy about this because I perceive a lower weight to be a better thing, then you might get somewhere. And if you can't do that, honestly, consider, just every time that you get that thought of, oh, good, I might lose some weight, just shove some food in your mouth, just to be like, shut up, for stupid thought, just to prove to your brain that is not something like weight gain is not something I'm worried about. This is about my body. This is about my health, right? It's a difficult answer to a difficult question because there's not a really straightforward answer to that question. I'm just glad that you're noticing it. I'm glad that you're noticing the problem. I'm glad you're noticing the sort of fat phobia and thin is better belief system and all that stuff that's going on in there, because noticing stuff is the first step on the path to changing anything. All right, Amy. I've lived at a suppressed body weight for 12 years now. For 12 years, I'm 40 now. And the thought of being at my pre-eating sort of weight, perhaps higher, as my short body will prove, disgusts me. I know it's harsh to say, and I know it's not right in so many other ways, but I just can't seem to fully let go. I'm stuck in quasi recovery, and I know it's just a matter of time if I continue to choose anorexia. I've shaved some years of my life, missed my entire 30s stuck in anorexia. Nothing has kept me consistent and committed. I have the best treatment team. I'm even a patient at Dr. G. I have a loving husband and family, dream dog, strong faith, not enough to get me to commit to the experience for recovery. I've been up and down for 12 years, in and out of treatment, never reached my set point, and literally saturated knowledge, but it's not translated into commitment. How do I push past the huge wall I've built? It's all about fear, isn't it? It's all about fear of weight gain. And the best treatment team in the world is not going to help you overcome fear of weight gain, because there's no easy way around fear of weight gain. And if you're forever trying to not go into that fear, and if you're ever trying to hope that fear goes away, and if you're forever trying to use information and things to sort of distract yourself from what the real problem is, which I know that that is, and that's fear of weight gain, then none of it matters. You've recognized what the problem is, the fear of weight gain thing, and now you just have to say, and I'm going to allow that fear to be there, and I'm going to do the thing I'm scared of. You have to be intentional about weight gain. Recovery is not about, I'm going to do all of these things and not do the weight gain thing. You won't recover. You have to be intentional about weight gain. You have to tell yourself every fucking minute of every day, I am going to gain weight. I want to gain weight. And even if a part of you doesn't believe it, because it won't, I don't expect your brain to believe it. You have to act as if you want to gain weight. And you have to work out how to act as if you want to gain weight when you don't want to gain weight. And you can do that. And unless you can do that, you will not recover, I promise you. You will not recover unless you can do that. And the good news is you absolutely can if you decide to. At the moment, you are still choosing not to recover. You say that you're in quasi-recovery. I say that you're not in recovery at all. You are still choosing not to gain weight. You are still choosing to restrict. You are still choosing to suppress your natural body weight. And if you are doing those things actively, doing those things in a day, you are not in recovery that day. If you restrict food, you are not in recovery. It really is that black and white. So I hope that you choose to go into recovery. All right. I'm going to look at some of these on the live chat now. Andela, I don't know how to say that. I'm very underweight, but my hunger cues are normal and I get full after eating a normal amount of food, not experience extreme hunger, but I have to gain. I don't feel hungry. All right. So let's imagine that you don't have an eating disorder. And Andela, let's imagine that you don't have an eating disorder. Right? Someone comes to you and they're like, I'm underweight and it's ruining my life and it's ruining my body. And, you know, it's probably going to kill me at some point. I'm really underweight. And what should I do about it? What would you tell that person? You'd be like, eat food. And then you'd be like, well, I don't want to eat food, just don't want to. You'd be like, well, you have to eat food. It's a bit like, say, except for example, you're like, I want to be a doctor. I want to be a doctor. I really want to be a doctor. That's what I want to do in my life. And anything other than being a doctor just means I'm not going to live my life to the full and I'm not going to be happy. And you're like, all right, well, what do you need to do to be a doctor? Well, you need to go and study. Oh, I don't want to study. Don't feel like it. You'd be like, well, you can't be a doctor then, can you? It's basically what you're saying to me is I want to recover. I'm not hungry and I don't want to eat. And I'm saying to you, well, guess what? You have to force yourself to eat. This is not about you wanting to eat. I don't care if you don't want to eat. I don't care if you're not hungry. I don't care if you feel full. The answer to your problem is going to be, whatever way we look at it, eat more fucking food. It's not about like if you want. It's like if you want to recover, you need to gain weight. And the way to gain weight is to eat more fucking food. So it is like a better example is it's like you've got an illness and a doctor's like, oh, here's the medication. And you're like, oh, I don't want to take the medication. Don't like it. And the doctor's like, okay, well, you're not going to get better then. You're like, yeah, well, no, I'm stuck in a hard place. Who likes to take medication? We do it when we're sick. If you don't feel like eating, tough shit. You have to eat. You've got to force feed yourself. And honestly, and I've taken some, when you're sick and you're a kid and you get some gross medication to take, like some really horrible medicine, and your mum makes you take it. Well, I mean, it's like food. You can just sit there and eat cupcakes. It's not like the worst thing ever. As far as medication goes, food's awesome. Just buy a load of cupcakes and force them down. It's not like I'm telling you to do something that's the most horrible thing in the world. I'm not telling you to set your fingernails on fire if you want to recover. I'm telling you get to eat a load of the favorite food that you want. It's really not a big, horrible thing to have to do, is it? So if you want to recover, I don't care how hungry or not you are. You got to eat a load of food. And if you're like, no, it's just not worth feeling too full over. Guess what? You're not going to recover. You don't get to have it both ways. You don't get to recover and not eat very much food. So you're just going to have to kind of get over this, oh God, it's so awful. I've got to eat all this food. Woe is me. Just get on with it. Stop whining. All right. Kaylee. I'm recovering and I went to 21. No, I've been getting a lot of it. Everyone keeps saying I need to see why I eat. I don't care about calories, Kaylee. I don't even, it doesn't even mean anything to me anymore. I'm just like, all I see there is it says Kaylee Anderson, mental hunger, mental hunger, mental hunger, mental hunger, mental hunger, mental hunger. If you're thinking, because that's thinking about food, you're thinking about calories. You're asking people how many calories you should have. You're probably researching on the internet how many calories you should have. That's mental hunger, Kaylee. So that's all I see in that question. So I'm just going to say you need to eat more food. Okay. Alex, I've no hunger. Has anyone experienced no hunger? I could go to Alex, the same as Hujima Flip and Delia or whoever. You're not hungry. You need to recover. Eat food. It's not about always being hungry. It's not about always getting to do what you want. It's just like, this is like I'm at point A and I need to get to point B. I am underweight and I need to get my weight up. What is the answer to this equation? It doesn't take a fucking rocket scientist, does it? Eat more food. I don't care if you're hungry or not. All right. Oh, right. Fucking, I'll force myself. Yes, Alex, that is the answer. You can do my job now. All right, guys, gotta go. Lovely to see you. Bye.